I'm so delighted that you're joining us today. Just completely tickled pink. We are having the Women Balancing Life with Love webinar. We're so delighted that you joined us today. And just be prepared to have a phenomenal time with us and be very comfortable. Feel free to, write to us. I'll tell you how you can do that and interact with us in just a minute. And let me tell you a little bit about who I am. My name is Lynn Williams. I'm a parent coach, speaker, and author of 3 parenting books. My first book is Trying to Stay Sane While Raising Your Teen. And you know what? I'm going to flip over for just a minute, and it sounds like I have a little feedback, so give me 1 minute. You know how technical difficulties are, so just a minute. I don't see anything that makes me believe that we have feedback, but I do hear it. Anyway, I'm going to finish my story to you. So, I wrote 3 books, and let me tell you a little bit about why. Years and years ago, and I know I look like I'm probably, I don't know, but I'm a lot older than whatever I don't know is to you. My oldest daughter will be 30 in June, just to give you an idea. But when she was a teenager, I went through a divorce. She has a brother, and going through a divorce, if any of you have done that before, is a nightmare on steroids. Just saying, it's not comfortable. And I moved from the suburbs, the nice, safe areas to raise kids and that everybody tells you, and I moved back to the city. And I wanted to be closer to my village, and what I found was the way that things were going were a lot faster than what I was used to. Kids got to stay up later and stay out later, and my kids had bedtimes. So along the way of raising them and getting back to a comfortable, familiar household where the kids didn't hate you for moving and leaving them and leaving their friends and their family members, I started writing this book, and it was called Trying to Stay Sane While Raising Your Teen. So I wrote that book, thought I was done, and life went on. Well, along the way, I started interacting with, I was teaching high school boys and starting to notice their mothers were saying, they're not communicating with me, I don't understand what's going on, they seem to talk to you, can you explain it? And I could explain it. I have, a son. He was about 5 years younger than his teenage sister, and he was slightly crazy, different, Mars versus Venus, right? But I did understand the language, and so I wrote a second book, and it was called The Pampered Prince, Moms Create a Great Relationship with Your Son. And it's ideal for women who are raising boys and there's no man in the household. So it does, whether you're single, whether you are divorced, whether your husband works all the time and he's not at home, that's the book for you, because I talk about holding our sons accountable and having, consequences that are manageable, something that you, if you say it, you can do it, and just being consistent as a parent, because that's what, that's what all of our kids need, but that's especially what men need growing up into men. Then I thought I was done, and lo and behold, I was teaching in a different facility, starting to teach at the community college level. I said, oh, this is a safe level. I can do this and write books. And I noticed I was teaching young women, and young women could be any age from 17 up through their mid-40s, 50s. And there was a lot of aggression. I hate you. Oh, I'm just kidding. Or, you're really not as attractive as me. Oh, I'm just kidding. And I just didn't understand that kind of language, because if you say something like that to me, I believe that that's what you meant. And so that just kidding stuff didn't really work. But what I wanted to understand was what was behind all of that. So that's my third book, Raising Your Daughter Through the Joys, Tears, and Hormones, because I actually watched women fight with each other physically, not only verbally, but also I watched, I would take public transportation to school, and I watched how mothers interacted with their daughters. And, I said mothers raise their daughters and they love their sons. So that's really kind of what, what I'm talking about here. And tonight is not really about parenting as much as it is about us as women. And, us as women, there are all kinds of things we go through, but emotionally we need to have a way to stay in balance. And so part of my role as an author and a parent coach is to offer families solid foundations so that, you got to be able to communicate with your kids. When they come home and you say, how was your day? And they say, fine. There's more to that. There's always a backstory. I always like to say there's a backstory, and you need to know what that is. And so I coach in a couple of areas, and one of them is parent coaching. The other area is women in balance. And so when we talk tonight, and it's one of my co-hosts and I'll talk primarily about balance that women need to have in order to stay sane, right? I mean, like, if you are doing for everybody else and not yourself, how long do you think that will last for you? So I also coach on that standpoint. So what tonight will be is we're trying to eliminate that out of balanceness. And what I'd like you to do is, on your cell phone, I want you to text so that you can stay in touch with me. And you'll hear this a couple of times tonight. Text the word TEST, T-E-S-T, to 708-501-7060. I'll say it one more time, and then we'll get started. TEST is the word. Doesn't matter whether you do uppercase, lowercase, a combination, doesn't really matter. But the phone number is 708-501-7060. Okay, so we're going to, at this point, I'd like to have us do a shout out to our Facebook community. And right above where you registered, on the screen that you're looking at, are two opportunities for sharing. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I always had to share. I was the oldest, and my mom and dad always said, share your candy, share your money, share everything. And I hated sharing, but that's what we did. So today, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, and that is, I would like you to click on the link that says share on Facebook, or if you have a Twitter account, share on Twitter, and let people know what you're doing. I'm watching the women who balance love with life, or life with love, hashtag balance, and let people know what you're doing. Excuse me. The other thing we're going to do is I'm going to introduce my lovely co-hosts. I have two women joining me from very different aspects, but vibrant, phenomenal women. The first woman is Doris Burch. I don't know if you've heard of her before, but Doris Burch has a wonderful brand called Fabulous You. She just did a 3-day conference, and it was absolutely outstanding. But she deals with how to help you be fabulous through everything. And I'm going to let her talk about that in more detail. The other co-host is Yanni Brown. And Yanni Brown has something that I think is really cool. So for those of you, if you get like me and you get very busy and there's no time for you, maybe there's no time for love either. And so Yanni Brown has a wonderful brand called Making Love Better. And I'm going to let her explain exactly what that means. So without any further hesitation, I know you've shared, right? So everybody knows that you're watching the Women Who Balance Life with Love webinar. You've told your friends, and you've already texted the word TEST so that you can stay in touch with us. And then, oh, I almost forgot. Oh, how could I forget? We have a private Facebook page which we opened up for tonight. It's called Mother-Daughter Conversations. And in that space, we encourage you to speak, ask your questions. Taria Hodge is kind enough to give us time tonight. She's our social media maven. She's awesome. And she's going to make sure that we get the questions so that we can answer them during this broadcast. So now I'm completely done talking. I'm exhausted. And I'm going to bring on Doris Burch. Doris, are you there?
I am here. I am here. Oh, thank you so much, C. Lynn. This is a wonderful opportunity to be a part of the webinar and to tell you a little bit about me. And what I do is that I really have a strong desire for women to be fabulous. And it is from a place of purpose, and it is from a place of being totally empowered. And I do that through my company called Fab Factor, and I work with women all over the world. And one of the things that I love about what I do is that it really does allow me to be fully me. And that's one of the things that I noticed that a lot of women, they don't get to really step into who they really want to be. And who they're being is not the real them. And so I'm all about empowering yourself to really step into who you're being and really showing up in the world as the woman you really want to be and not apologizing at all about it. And so I'm so excited to join C. Lynn Williams and Yanni Brown for this extraordinary moment of sending some words your way so that you can have a fabulous life, a life that you love, one that really allows you to embrace every single aspect of who you are as a woman. And so thank you so much, C. Lynn.
So I just got a note that we're not broadcasting. So, Doris, we're live, but this, I know.
Oh my God, you so, just have to love it. You have to love it.
I know. So I'm going to check. If you will continue to talk, I'm going back into the behind the scenes and be the Wizard of Oz. That's all I can say. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, I know. Trust me, I have been there.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm just glad it's not just me that does things like that.
I'm gonna let Yanni talk for a moment, and I'm still gonna be behind the scenes. Yanni, I heard the message, and I'm checking now.
Okay, great. Glad you're checking that. I'm also checking with my daughter too to see if she has like a problem-solving solution for this, just to see if she has any input. But we're not broadcasting live, so do you use this and know how to, or no? No, you don't use Google Hangouts?
Are you talking?
Yes.
Oh, but I know how to.
Okay, we're not broadcasting. We're broadcasting live, but we're not recording. So, do you know how to do that or no?
So, are you guys trying to? What do you mean by not?
You know what? I'll let her handle it on her end and see. But it's not. She said it's not recording.
Okay, so what does that mean? So it's saying, please correct the frame rate of the video to 30 frames per second. What in the world?
She needs to correct the frame rate to 30 frames per second. The host.
So are you in your Instant Broadcast Pro?
Yeah, well, okay, so wait a minute. Let me see what Taria is saying.
I can't.
Okay. If you go in your Instant Broadcast Pro, let me go in mine so I can help you too.
To the video on there, correct and paste the video.
Let her do it.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Tab, it says instant broadcast. Okay, wait a minute. What in the world? Okay, so.
So you want me to go ahead and introduce myself while you?
I do, and
okay.
I'll stop talking. Wait a minute. Let me just go back to where. Yes, I know. Comedy.
Okay, I am Yanni Brown, and I am I started Making Love Better Together 20 plus years ago, and it started out one way, and then it just kind of gradually progressed into us learning how to honor ourselves as women and being the queens that we are, but learning how to let go of things as well and allow others to love us as well. And then once they're in a relationship, then I help them maintain that relationship with spontaneity and spice, and by being their ultimate true selves in their relationships and just learning how to be open to love. So in addition to the workshops that I've created specifically for women and couples and teen girls, I also decided, well, couples aren't as creative as they would like to be sometimes, so now I set up romantic rendezvous for them. I'm in their kitchen cooking, and I'm setting up rose petals, turning down bed covers, and just helping them create that energy that they had on date night or that they should have on date nights. So Making Love Better Together encompasses everything that has to do with love. We think we know what it is. We try and make these rules, but ultimately love has no rules. So I just kind of help them finagle their way through the challenges that can sometimes happen in relationships with self, friends, family members, and or their spouses and or relationships. I love my job. Like I said, I've been doing it for 20 plus years. I also teach sex education workshops. So the journey has been very, very interesting, but very fulfilling. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else than what I'm doing right now. It's so gratifying to hear what people have to say about, their marriages or how they've maintained it one more year or how they've gotten past this disagreement or this conflict because of something that we've worked through together in their relationships. And just women who've said, people always say love yourself, but they don't ever really tell us how. And in your book, Making Love Better Begins Within, you give us some steps on how to do that, and I appreciate that. I saw myself in your book. So when you hear things like that, you know you're on the path to purpose. It just so happens I'm really passionate about my purpose. So I get to be the fly on the wall to help people love better, hence the name, Making Love Better Together. And my concept is simple, in that it's going to take all of us coming together collectively to restore balance to love. I think love has gotten way off track, way out of whack, and we're not fighting for it anymore. We're not being taught to fight for our relationships with our parents, fight for our relationships with our siblings, fight for our relationships with each other in terms of couples and even friendships. Nowadays everything is replaceable. So just trying to move past that into understanding love a little bit better so that there's longevity there. In a few years, I feel like we're going to be in a place where we're not communicating with our body language anymore. We're just communicating with emojis, and that's scary to me.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to stay off. Please speak a couple of more minutes. I want to just make sure that what I did was what I should have done. So.
Okay. So the Spontaneity and Spice have been my favorite workshops because I get to create curriculum for couples, and that's always exciting because I take the pressure off of them so that it's not, oh, well, you said this or you think that, and now it's all me saying, hey, well, why don't you try this and why don't you try that? And we as women don't like this. None of us as women like this. So it takes the pressure off them, and then I get to explain to them how women are from Mars and men really are from Venus, and then I break that down so that we just have a better understanding of each other. I think based on what we're doing in our relationships, we can do this thing better. And with the help of Doris, with the help of Lynn, with the help of all the people that are out there in Facebook land, we can always learn something from each other. Always. Doris, what do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree that we can always learn from each other and what we're doing in the world, that we should always be a student, always be a student, always be ready to advance and to just be the whole woman that we're really meant to be. And so I love learning from other women, and any little nugget I can have to always be more fabulous, I'm all for that. I think she's almost got it going. So
Okay, good.
we're almost going to be live.
We are live. We are live. I'm so excited. You know, I have gotten a degree in television broadcasting over the last several weeks. I don't know about you guys, but this is like, and I love technology, but you think, okay, I have a list of everything I'm supposed to do, and I know I would probably be fired if I worked for 60 Minutes, but I'm so glad that I do not work for 60 Minutes. So, anyway, but thank you so much, Taria. She and you guys and who mentioned it. I do want to point out both women that are joining me tonight in terms of, it takes, we always say it takes a village to raise a family, but I think it takes a village to exist in this society because, you've got to have your group that people that you go to when the world seems to be closing in on you. You have to have somebody. I actually have a really good girlfriend who, when she needs time off, I know she doesn't believe me, and if she's on the line, I'm talking directly to you. I won't say your name. But when she needs time off, she gets sick. And how many of us get sick when we need time off, right?
Yes.
We don't feel comfortable. It's not acceptable maybe in our family. We may not even understand it, but I remember my mom. Every year she went into the hospital and she had pleurisy, she had, I don't know, different things, but I think that gave her license to take some time off. And that's not the way as women, we have to have our power back. Yes, you might be running a business. Yes, you might be a key executive. You might be a mom, maybe you're in a relationship, maybe you aren't, but you have to have time for you. And so tonight, right now, I want you to take some notes, jot down some things that are important to you. And here's my question for tonight. What is your biggest challenge as a woman right now? I mean, are you working, like, I know for me, I don't know about you, Doris and Yanni, but as you're building a business, there are very few boundaries. I work in the morning early if I'm inspired. I work at night, and I'm not a night person. Everybody that knows me says you go to bed at 9 o'clock. I don't even know how you're still up, but it's just how things are going. And so I get that. And yet, when do you take time to take a bubble bath, to make love to your spouse or to your significant person, or go for a walk, take a yoga class? I mean, what do you need to do for yourself so that you don't have to get sick? So who wants to weigh in on this one?
I'll jump in. It's taken me some time to get to a place where I could create a space for me, but believe it or not, I like thrifting. So I give myself a budget of $20 and I go, as crazy as this sounds, my downtime is going to the thrift store, and I'm the kooky girl that loves the music that they play in the thrift store. So I will spend as much time as I want at the thrift store. That's one of my downtimes. Another thing I like to do is I like to take a bubble bath. That's where I get the music that I want to hear, because again, you don't often get to do what you want to do. You're always doing what someone else wants you to do. So I get all the music that I like and I cue it up on my phone or my iPad or my iPod, and I get in the bathroom and I sit there and I go over as much inch of me as I can see and get to, and I just love on me. I've gotten to a point where I know what that's like not to love on me, and I have a friend who's sick, and so seeing all of life's shifts happening, it makes you appreciate what you have so much more. So I try and cherish the little things, and sometimes those little things are just me taking care of me, me giving myself a manicure, me giving myself a pedicure, or just a foot rub, rubbing and loving on me. So that's some of the things that I do in my downtime.
Doris, I'm going to ask, what do you do? What do you do in downtime? Okay, so I'll talk while until Doris gets back to us. But in downtime for me, I I love old movies, and it used to be that, I'd come home from when I was growing up, Sunday school and church, but, I liked, uh, gosh, I can't even think of some of, you know, and I was young, but I liked, The Thin Man. I don't know if I'm really dating myself. I don't know if any of you have heard of any of these movies. I liked um, the original, what was his name? Sherlock Holmes. I like Charlie Chan movies. I'm a tearjerker, so I like, some of the love stories, some of the Doris Day movies. So that's where you'd find me. Nowadays, I always say to myself, well, if I can sit and watch TV, I can write. But that's not necessarily true, and that doesn't really give you the time away. So the other thing that I'm committed to is exercising, even though I will share with you that today I did not go out to yoga and I didn't exercise yesterday. So, I was getting ready for tonight's broadcast, but it's normally not negotiable. I like to get out if the weather's decent, and I mean like 30 degrees is okay, as long as it's not really cold or rainy. I'll get out and I'll take a walk, or I'll go in the gym. If money is an issue, find something that you can do, like thrifting. I love that idea, and I like going in. I'm like that with hardware stores. I like going in and just looking, walking up and down the aisles. Can I fix most of the things that you find in the hardware store? Absolutely not. But they play some kooky kind of music, like Yanni said, and it's a chance to be with me. And really, that's all we're talking about. Balance. When you're talking about balance, you're talking about, it doesn't have to be a lot of times. Like when I usually do a workshop for women who are out of balance, we talk about how much time mothers have on a day. And we figured out it was 17 minutes. 17 creeping minutes a day. There are a lot of minutes in a day, right? So when I think about how little time we get for ourselves, you have to carve that time out. So if you're working and you come home and your kids are with you, depending on their age, have them start dinner. Now, you might say, well, see, Lynn, my kids are 7 and 8. Okay, so one night a week, they make sandwiches. They make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They may make whatever's in the refrigerator that they don't have to cook. Because what it does, it empowers your kids, and it gives you a little bit of time. Go in your room, kick off your shoes. Maybe you take 5 or 10 minutes to yourself. And what that does is that's it really, 5 minutes is amazing, for time for you. 10 minutes is even better. I like the bubble bath idea, getting in the tub into some sudsy, hot suds with bubbles and music. Oh, not only is it an aphrodisiac, so if you get in the tub with someone else, that's even better. Hopefully, this is an adult conversation tonight. I'm just going to say that. But you really want time for you. So have a love affair with you. I took my bath in the morning, and I was meditating. I have a book that I really love, and actually I had something to read to you guys tonight. Let me pull it up. It's called Simple Abundance. I'll show it to you. This is my Simple Abundance book. I've had it for about maybe 7 years, and each year I read it over. I don't read it from the beginning to the end, but when I feel like I need a little different kind of inspiration, then I read it. So what I found for us today is it talked about, let's see, awakening sleeping beauty. So this is on March 18th. Now we know it's not March 18th, but this is the page I opened it to, and I'm kind of funny about that. I kind of believe in where you opened it. Let's read from there. And so it says, in every one of us, there lies a sleeping beauty waiting to be awakened through love. I thought this was so appropriate for us, especially with what Yanni does. Because she has slumbered for so long, she must be awakened very gently. But instead of waiting for Prince Charming to storm the palace gates, you must summon the magic powers of your authentic self to break any cruel enchantment that has left you unaware of your own glory. Now, I'm not going to read the entire page to you. I'm going to stop right there. But I will tell you that this is, for me, a time to get back to me. I'm going to turn it over to one of my co-hosts. Doris, are you back with us yet?
I am. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I am back. Hello, everyone. I am the fabulous Doris Burch. I am so excited to be a part of this much needed webinar where we are really stepping into more of the woman that we are here to be and really loving ourselves in the process of it all so that we can really live the lives that are the most fabulous life that we can have. And so being a part of this is just like, I'm like honored and humbled to be here because I know that this topic is one that we really don't think about a lot because we just are so busy in our lives and we are so busy in autopilot that we are just existing. And here is an opportunity for us to really step into being a woman who thrives and a woman who is really loving herself enough that she will take the time to awaken whatever is within her so that she can create and live the life that is beyond her wildest dreams, the most fabulous life that you can possibly create. And here's the thing, that we're all here tonight to give you, if you won't do it for yourself, we are here to give you permission to be that woman, to step into that woman, to be unapologetic about being that woman, and coming from that place and really understanding that whatever it is that you really want is available to you. And so this is part of the thing that I do with the women that I work with in my coaching company, is really stepping into who you're being, because who you are being is everything. It is how you will wake up in the morning, and it is how you will go to sleep at night. It is how you'll do everything in between those moments. It will be, the self-care that you will do for yourself. It will be the foods that you eat. It will be how you handle every relationship in your life, who you are being. And so here's a prime opportunity for you to really check in to see, who am I really being? Am I really honoring who it is I want to be in the world? And if you are not honoring yourself, here's a chance for you to get real honest about that. And also here's an opportunity for you to make a decision and decide to be that woman no matter what. Whatever changes have to be made, whatever transformation needs to happen inside so it can come on the outside, for you to be that woman. And so here you get to be having a life that you love, because you are honoring who you are and you love yourself so much. So that's what I have for right now. What's next, CJ? I mean, CJ, C. Lynn. Lord, who's CJ? I don't know.
I know. Let's see what Yanni has to say, because I love what you said, Doris. I think that this whole journey for us, it doesn't really matter what we're doing. We might be, like I said, we might be running companies, we may be running families, we may be doing all of that, but what will be remembered about us is how we took care of ourselves too. Because one of the things that I find with kids is that if mom doesn't feel good, then the whole house seems to suffer, right? Mom doesn't feel good, it's no fun. There's nobody wanting to congregate in the kitchen. If you don't feel good at work, then people kind of shy away from you. I mean, because maybe it's catching, even if it's depression. And those are the things that we don't readily talk about. I think, we instead what we end up doing is we just kind of suffer through life. And there's nothing worse than suffering through life. Enjoy. We're here to enjoy. If something's not working out, fix it. If you want to be more fabulous, talk to Doris. If you want to have a phenomenal relationship, a love relationship, not just with yourself, with an actual human being, even with yourself, talk to Yanni. And if you are needing to have a different way that you communicate with your children, or you want to have a more balanced life, that's what I'm for. And so all of us are approaching life in different aspects, but we're all women, and we've all had challenges. I mean, if you listen to me, I went through divorce. And, that was a turning point for me that, I no longer said, I'm not going through this again. I want a phenomenal life. I want a great relationship with my kids. And that was important to me. Each of us have a different story, but the whole gist of it, if I were to say it like that, would be that you can have a fabulous life. You can have a fabulous set of kids, and it doesn't really matter where you are right this moment. So write us and reach out to us. I'm going to turn it over to the delightful Yanni Brown.
Well, what I was going to say is that shift happens. And I know whenever I say that, that make a lot of people nervous. But life comes at you fast. And it comes at you in intervals. And it's not always the same steady pace. And you know that old saying, you keep on living? You keep on living, you'll learn some things about yourself. But what I would say is, as women, I'm learning, and I'm sharing with other women what I'm learning in my workshops, is that you can't beat yourself up, and that we can't take it personal, although it's personally happening to us, this shift. We can't take it personal. And in this shift is there to teach us some things about ourselves that maybe we didn't know or think that we were strong enough to handle, or to tell us how to handle something that's coming in the future. And although we don't see it that way at the time, that's part of the process of getting us back to centering ourselves, to love ourselves. Because as you said earlier, Celine, I can't take care of my house if I'm a mess. I can't run my house. I can't pursue my passion. I can't be the best woman that I can be if I'm being everything everybody else needs, wants, and expects me to be. And sometimes you just have to say, nope, sorry, ain't gonna do it. Can't help you today. I'm closed. Office is out. I'm out to lunch. Whatever it is you need to say, it's okay to be selfish when you need to get back to centering you. And I realize sometimes that may come in, you can't just take a vacation, or you can't just step away and take a 2-hour bubble bath or something like that. Sometimes you need to break that day down into 60 seconds, where you're centering yourself, saying, I need to breathe. But whatever it is you need to do as a woman, you have to take that time to make that time for you. Because if you don't, you will find yourself in a trip to the hospital, as Celine said earlier. I was one of those people who wouldn't take a break, so, the higher being said, okay, you don't want to take a break, I'll give you one. And I've taken several trips to the hospital, not the intended vacation that I wanted. So what I've learned is to listen to my body. And again, ladies, I fully understand that this takes time, but you have to learn how to listen, because your body will speak to you. In the way that you move. It'll tell you when your body's getting tired, when it's time for you to go to sleep, when it's time for you to relax. I have a condition called TMJ, which is totally stress related. But when I feel that tightening up, I know, okay, it's time for you to get a massage. It's time for you to relax those traps, a little bit. So we need to definitely get more in tune. But for those of us that have those moments where you say, well, what if I don't love myself all the time? I mean, let's get real. We don't. We say all the time, oh, love yourself. It's okay. Lumps, rolls, the whole nine. Well, truth be told, that may not always happen. But what I found myself telling myself during those moments is, it will be okay. Whatever the shift is that's happening right now, it will be okay. You may not control it. You may not be able to bend it. You may not be able to mold it. But whatever it is, just know that it will be okay. and you just have to breathe through it, just like you have to breathe through everything. And I relate it to labor a lot. Sometimes you have to do that deep breathing and just center yourself so that you can get through that moment until it's time for the next moment. And then it's preparation from moment to moment to moment. And before you know it, you have a story that's going to be able to help some other woman get through her shift too.
I love, love what you just said, Yanni, because that is such a truism. You know, for me, and this is something that I'm learning as we speak, and that has to do with letting go of control. You know, a lot of times, one of the things I think we as women, you know, we are responsible for our kids, right? We're responsible for having a great marriage. We're responsible for having a great home, a great this, a great that. And when that doesn't happen that way, oh my God. And so, you know, just like you said, take a deep breath. We are not in control. I mean, I find that out just on this broadcast, right? We're thinking we're broadcasting, we are recording, and something didn't happen. And so that's kind of what life is. And I think if I don't know anything else, this I do know. And that is that when shifts happen, you have to take a deep breath, especially if you're the kind of person that wants to be in control, needs to be in control, has to be in control. This is life, and it is not controllable. And the best that you can do is control your emotions and yourself. And so if things are not going the way you want them to go, change them. You do have permission. That means that if you're in a relationship there is no love, change it. If you don't like the responses that you're getting from the friends that you're interacting with, change them. And I'm very serious about this. I mean, you know, why go through life with, you know, dissatisfaction all around you? It metamorphoses into sickness, and there are too many of my friends that I've lost already due to one illness or another, whether it's cancer or heart disease. You know, all of that stuff happens, I believe, when we are not satisfied with ourselves. And so take a moment every day. If you are a person of faith, pray. If you are not, I don't know what to tell you to do. However, you have to have something that is bigger than you that you can deal with and that you rely on, because, just like Yanni said, shift happens. And when shift happens, then you have to be prepared to step into it. And I think some of our biggest growth has to do when there's something that's outside of our control and we are able to manage ourselves and deal with it. And when you look at it from the other side, you know, for me, going through a divorce was very traumatic. I had been married for 18 years. 18 years to me is a long time. And to have to go through a divorce and find myself, pick myself up, you know, there's a lot of guilt that goes with that, a lot of blame. And, you know, what did I do wrong? Well, you know, I could end up in the hospital, or worse than that, trying to figure that out. That was not something that would move me and my family, my kids forward. So I had to decide, am I going to stay stuck or am I going to move forward? And I think that's what we're saying tonight. What do you want to do? If you're out of balance, which means you have no time for bubble bath. I can't take a bubble bath. It takes me 30 minutes, and I don't have 30 minutes. Then maybe take something a little smaller, take a longer shower. You know, go get a massage. They have all kinds of massages nowadays. You don't have to take an hour and a half massage. You could do a 30-minute massage. You could do one of those chair massages. Those things feel so good. Oh, my gosh. But all we're saying to you is take the first step to being fabulous, awesome. You know, we are phenomenal creatures. You know, we really are. And as women, you know, women rule the world. I don't know. I'm going to ask Doris, but that's just my take on it. What do you say, Doris? Don't women rule the world?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are the life. Life comes through us. So yes, we do rule the world, and we can rule the world in a way that is utterly fabulous to us when we are really in honoring who we are, so that we don't have to have moments where we are getting sick. And because, you know, as C. Lynn shared and as Yanni shared, I mean, anytime our bodies are out of balance and we are presented with some sort of dis-ease, which is a disease, which means we are not satisfied with something within ourselves. And so we have all the power to change that. And so that's just how powerful we are as women. And so why not? And I know um, in sharing, you know, some of our stories and things of our points when we decided to make a shift was, for me, you know, I was a person that knew that there was something more. And I actually was like, when I had my corporate job, was thinking, this isn't enough. There has to be something else. There has to be a way for me to do more, be more, and have more in the world that is truly honoring to who it is that I feel like I'm desiring to be. And so I don't know if any of you are out there who are working a corporate job and you are just doing it because you don't know another way. But here is really the truth. There is another way. But in order for you to pursue the other way, you have to be willing to release what you have now, to look for and pursue and to tap into what is coming and what makes absolutely no sense to do. And but you may have this feeling that you are here to do something more, and having this corporate job is not a part of the equation for you going forward in your life. And here is an opportunity to say, I'm really going to tap into who I am here to be and to really pursue that, even if it makes absolutely no sense to no one else. And what I always tell people is that, and I told it to myself, was that it doesn't really matter if it doesn't make any sense to anyone else. It doesn't have to, because it's not their dream and it's not their desire. It's yours, and it only needs to make sense to you, because that's the only way it's going to manifest and happen in the world. And so from that place, you actually show up in a different vibration. You show up in a different frequency. And see, when you're living in a different vibration and frequency, and you really are tapped into being on purpose about why you are here and really loving yourself, is that everything in your life will change. Everything will rise up to meet you at the place where you are deciding to play. And here's what I have found out, is that from operating from that place, when you really are on purpose about what you are doing and you are really being unapologetic about that, here's what will happen. Things that happened to you before, where you were in low vibration or negative situations or were getting sick or anything, those things no longer show up in your life, because you are totally playing life full out and you are totally at another place. And when you're in another place, you are so happy and you're loving yourself, and everything about you vibrates at that level. And so I heard somebody say this, and it's slipping my mind right now who I heard say it, but when I heard it, I was like, yeah. It's like, why would you vibrate or be at the frequency of a germ? And that was sort of powerful to me. Oh, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Is that, think how powerful that is, and that may go over some of your heads, and some of you may totally not get it, and then maybe one day you'll remember or hear this. But if you are being sick, that's some sort of a germ, and why would you vibrate at the frequency of a germ or a level of disease when we have the power within us to heal ourselves and to not be sick. And we really tap into that way of being, because I'm always focused on who we are being, and that really determines every single thing we get to do in life is based on who we are being. And so if you are a person who's being okay with being sick, then you have to really ask yourself why, when we have the capabilities to do things in our lives that allow us to be healthy and whole. We have to make different decisions about that, but we have the ability and we have the power to change all of that. And so that comes with loving yourself enough to be that empowered that you will take control of your health and do whatever is required so that you don't have to be sick or deal with any illnesses that may come, in other parts of the world and with other people, because you are choosing to play life at another level. And what else do I want to say? What else, Celine?
I just love what you said, because you hit on some key things that I completely agree on, and that is that what you focus on is what actually is what happens in your life. So if you focus on illness, if you focus on being depressed and not getting what you want, let's focus on what you do want. So I like that attitude completely, because what it does is it lets the universe know, hey, okay, this is where I want to focus. This is the vibration that I am spinning at. Think about like a little top. I don't know if you guys remember tops and how we used to spin them around and they'd spin around and around. Well, that's us on a high vibration versus dragging along. And I really resonated with what Doris said about corporate America, because if that's not where you really truly want to be, go out. And you're going to have those people around you that say, why did you leave? You had a great job. That's exactly it. It was a great job, but it wasn't the place for me. And so you've got to find out where it is that you want. Think about it. One of the things, I don't know, you guys have Pinterest boards? Those are great
Yeah.
boards. I love that for being able to dream. Like, I have a vision board on Pinterest. I have the car that I love, some places that I want to visit, may not have been there yet. So I am pulling into my consciousness what I want, not so much what I don't want, because what you focus on is what actually occurs. So just think about it. I'm going to pass it over to Yanni, and before I do that, let us know how things are going. Go ahead back out to social media and say something about what this broadcast is saying to you. Is it reaching out to you? I mean, are you feeling what we're saying? Because I'm listening, and I know I'm talking, but I'm really feeling what my co-hosts are saying to me. So if I'm feeling it, are you feeling it? Let me know if you're feeling it. And then go ahead and hashtag your comments with balance, and reach out to us with your cell phone. Pull your cell phone out now. This is a great time. I don't know if you guys heard me at the beginning, because they told me that nothing was broadcasting. So now I got to say it again. But I'd like you to text the word test, T-E-S-T, to 708-501-7060. And what that does is that allows for us to stay in contact with each other. And as we are talking about fabulous ways to be whole, healthy, move through this experience without trying to control it and letting it control us, this is a way for you to get more information from each one of us. So I'm turning it over, and we're starting to get to the end of our conversation. What do you have to say to us, Yanni?
Well, we talk a lot about power and the power that we have as women, but we're not being powerful sometimes as women. for the elders that have the vision of what power is. We're not sharing that with the younger generation, and that's definitely some things that need to be passed on. I know in the workshops that Making Love Better Begins Within has from, we talk to them about that power and what that power means and the shifts that that power goes through. Not power like let's take over the world, though we can. It's power in terms of how we're able to move throughout the world and how we're able to move throughout the world and impact and touch others through our power. And we don't share that enough. We don't talk about wisdom. We don't talk about things like your gut or your inner feelings that come out and tell you things about yourself. I'm real big on, again, your body speaking to you, your innards, if you will, speaking to you, telling you things about you. And that's where your power comes from. We're not taught that we're princesses growing into queens and taking over the queendom, if you will. And when we speak about relationships, if I can just go there for a moment, our power comes in where we're the necks in our relationships. No, we're not the head. The man that you married, your husband, your man, or whoever you decided to share your life with, they are the head. And that's what they do. They head up the family. But our job and our power comes in our leadership and our guidance. We lead and guide them in the direction that they need to go in so that our family is better. The structure is better. The foundation is better. The budget is better. Everything becomes better by her leadership and guidance. And if she's not taught these things early enough in life, then she can't lead and guide him. Just like if he's not taught those things, he can't be the head. So when you're talking about power, especially when it comes to relationships, then we're speaking about leading and guiding, and that's done by leading and guiding. It's not done with the tongue. It's not done with the roll of the neck or the whip or the snap or things of that nature. It's done with how you lead, how you present yourself, and as earlier, it's in your being. Doris said that. It's in your being. It's who you are, and a lot of us aren't taught to be who we're destined to be or to be who we are. And so a lot of us, unfortunately, we're lost and we're struggling to find that power. We're struggling to find who we be. And in that struggle, we have the mess that we see now. Even I, too, have struggled with who am I? Because, you get so caught up in thinking that you need to keep up with the Joneses or whoever's popular or whatever's popular. And social media is taking on a whole nother level of demonism when it comes to creating that power. You can become a Instagram celebrity. You can become a Twitter, famous person, and all those things aren't being brought back to where's your power, where does your power lie. And I think if we're going back to teaching our girls that, even teaching some of our young women who've lost their way, then we've done our jobs well as elders, or for those who carry the wisdom and the power, and then sharing their wisdom and power with other women, other girls. And again, it goes back to the story. I remember growing up sitting at my grandmother's foot and letting her share the stories of slavery or the stories of picking cotton or the Sunday dinners that we no longer, that's almost non-existent right now. But we learned so much from them in those times and during those times, and we're getting so far away from that who's going to tell the story, and with our power, we're losing our voice in the story. So that's where I think our power lies, and I think we need to utilize that power more, but we also need to empower other women to let them know what their powers are. If you don't know you're a superwoman, how can you go out and be superwoman? So that's my challenge that I have with my ladies, is I want everyone to be empowered, and here's how you do so. Because again, like I said, it's easy to tell us, oh, go out and conquer the world, but how? We're talking about a whole group of women that don't know how to grocery shop anymore, don't know how to clean up a house anymore. So we've stripped them of their power, so to speak, and now we need to give it back to them and show them those things. Baby, that skirt don't look good on you, that short. These are the things that we're not telling them, so that they're just kind of going off in the world using a whole different power that's not going to benefit them 10 years from now. So
that's a great point. That's a great point, Yanni. I love what you're saying, because and I feel like I'm an elder. I know you are. I know Doris is. All of us are. Even if it doesn't matter with the age, like you said, you listen to your grandmother. I remember conversations, and there would be no question that I could not leave the house dressed the way I was dressed. And, there were standards. And I think it's important you can speak to a woman, a girl, and be kind. You don't have to roll your neck, and you don't have to talk bad about her behind. It's all about love and compassion, but sharing the knowledge. I completely agree with you.
Thank you.
Well, let's do this. Let's share with our audience, how can people get in touch with you? Doris, I'll let you speak, and then Yanni, you speak, please, and let them know how they can get in touch with you, and also share your information on our private Facebook page.
Yes. Well, if you want to get in touch with me, you can just simply go to fabfactoracademy.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Fab Factor Academy and just like the page and join in and start having your fabulous life.
Okay. Thank you, Doris. Yanni?
If I can get all the buttons unpressed, I can join you. You can find me at yannibrown.com or makinglovebettertogether.com, and across the board for all social media, I am Making Love Better. That's BETTR. And again, my concept is simple. It's going to take all of us, all of our wisdom, all of our knowledge, things that we've learned, things that we've been through, to restore balance to love. And I think we all need to share those stories.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The way that you can contact me, I am Miss Parent Guru on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'm CGWW Books on Facebook. CLynnWilliams.com is my website, but I'm all over social media because I too want to spread the word that you can have great relationships with your children. You can have great relationships in your marriage, in your relationships, and with each other. And so we simply want to say to you, we love you. We wish the best for you. Reach out to us. In our Facebook page, our group is called Woman, let's see, what did I call it? Mother-Daughter Conversations. And it's a continuous conversation. So feel free to reach out to us. Thank you for joining us tonight. We've had a blast. Thank you, Doris. Thank you, Yanni.
Thank you. Thank you. I did. I had a blast.
And we will talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.